Hello, everyone. 3 days after the solar solstice, the summer solstice, we are having a new moon, a Cancer new moon on Jupiter. The solstice was also already on Jupiter, and this time it is almost exactly conjunct Jupiter, but squared by Saturn Neptune. So to this particular space-time moment, I gave the title Luck or Expansion, or although I could have said Luck or escalation, because that is what you see in the world. Instead of calming down and trying to reach peace, what you see is all kinds of really hot escalations of military situations. And I don't really know where this is going to escalate further, but I don't really like what I see. But of course, I'm too small to do anything except for just telling you what the space-time moment is like. So here's the chart for London, and as you can see, the Cancer new moon will be on June 25th at 11:31 London time, so it's in the morning. And Virgo is rising, and in karmic astrology, the chart ruler for Virgo is Chiron. So the Chiron Aries conjunction in Aries is still there. So um, this year's and next year's main karmic astrological aspect, drastically altered outward circumstances causing karmic wounds, is still there, and it's actually ruling the space-time moment. The Sun Jupiter moon is in the 10th, which could be quite nice because it means that we will have a luck in the future and a fresh start. But it is squared by Saturn Neptune in the 7th, signifying that open enemies are going to be still there. The word text is on Lilith, the asteroid Lilith, which denotes revolt against injustice, which is opposite Mars trans Pluto. So, and at the apex of which you have dark moon Lilith, and also Uranus Sedna in a way, but we will see that Uranus is still in Taurus, so it's really just a triple conjunction that moves them in there, but they are not really there. And on the IC, the roots and family and homeland, there's Australia, the karma breaker. So that is the space-time moment for London. And let's take it apart. Let's take a look first at the declinations, because the moon is out of bounds, very out of bounds. As you can see, here's the solstice point, and the Sun Jupiter is almost at the solstice point. Still, the Sun is at 23:22, and Jupiter 23:15. So there's 7 minutes of an arc between them. It's really an occultation, and the moon is at 28:15, so it's really, really, really out of bounds. Most of the planets, of the 7 visible planets, are on northern hemisphere, except for Saturn, which is going to cross the celestial equator, but it's still at minus, so it's still in the south. And the moon is quite fast, so is Mercury. The rest of the planets are even average, or for the sun is really very slow moving at the moment. And there's a complex planetary picture if we just take all the planets and all the features that are at 4-5 degrees. What we have is a planetary picture that is made up by a kite, a mutable T-square, and a finger of fate. Let's take a look at them. Let's take a look at the finger of fate first, because the apex of it is Pluto transformation. And the sextile is made up by the Sun, Venus, Sun, Jupiter, Moon, and the sextile is Mars trans Pluto. So the new moon is actually sextiling Mars, and both are all the quincunxes, there are actually 5 of them if you take a look, are bidirectional, which means that they can behave like a trine. Mars Pluto is about how you fight, and it's also around aggression and violence. Jupiter Pluto is super success. Sun Pluto is the magician. Moon Pluto is spiritual transformation. So, and trans Pluto are, of course, husband and wife of the underworld, because trans Pluto is Persephone. So that's one. And then the mutable T-square has the dark moon at its apex, which is squared both by Mars and by Lilith. In the Lilith myth, asteroid Lilith denotes, why is it here? Sorry, this should be here. Sorry. In the Lilith myth, asteroid Lilith denotes revolt against injustice. And dark moonlit is the acceptance of the curse, when we simply say, I don't care what you do. I don't care what your opinion is. I will do what I damn well please because I know I'm right. So that's at the apex. And this is exactly what you see, especially in Europe. I don't know how much you are interested in European affairs because you luckily moved out of it. Although now the seat of power for the powers that be is England, the city, of course, because they had to move out of Washington, the deep state, and that is why your very own Starmer is so active in meddling in European affairs and acting as if he were the leader. Of course, he's just an idiot. The problem is that all the other leaders of Europe are idiots, and they want to desperately want to create this united Europe, this whole empire. The problem is that this is a very diverse group of people, a very diverse group of nations, and the people don't really want this. Of course, the leaders don't care, so they push us into accepting or taking out a huge loan. The pretext is helping Ukraine because this is a cause that most ordinary people can adjust to, because of course the poor Ukrainians, they are killed by the Russians, and this whole thing is unprovoked. If you look at CNN, if you watch CNN, the CNN correspondents always say unprovoked war. Well, no, it wasn't unprovoked actually, and I'm not going to open this discussion, but just look at the facts. It's not what mainstream media wants us to believe. So at the moment, but they are trying to push into trying to create trying to push us into what they want to create, and this is the European Union empire, and this T-square exactly describes their aim and purpose. And it's also a beautiful kite, luckily, at the angle of which is the Lilith-Mars opposition. And the ground trine is made up by Lilith, Vesta, and the Sun, Jupiter, Moon. So Vesta, the focusing principle, is helping us to really highlight what is important and what is not so important. Here are the transcendental objects, not too many. On the Sun, Moon, Jupiter, you have Amenhotep, who was a dynasty creating pharaoh. Asbolus, he is a centaur who is a seer and an oracle. The problem is that nobody believes him when he is right, and whenever he makes a little mistake, then he is ridiculed. This is exactly what we are seeing everywhere. Those people who can see what's happening and tell the people, like the whistleblowers, they are being ridiculed. And at the same time, there's this programmed chaos, because the powers that be want to push us into chaos, because then, first of all, they can do whatever they damn well please. I just saw a little video on one of the, I think he was Spanish, one of the members of the Vox Spanish party, telling the European committee that they are, so these weapons that they are trying to buy are badly overpriced. Like, one German tank cost 23 million euros, whereas the I don't know, the Chinese tank, which is similar, costs only 1.5 million. And this is exactly what you see, that they are trying to rise to whip up the prices in order to just push us into poverty. And yes, this is programmed chaos, but at the same time, chaos is not such a bad thing, because usually chaotic movements and chaotic things can actually bring into fruition something beautiful. And let's hope that this is going to happen. After all, there's Jupiter there. And the Mars Pluto has Asclepius, the healer. Pluto has Medea. And if there is one really horrible, horrifying person in Greek mythology, that is Medea, who is killing her own children just to punish their father. And this is really horrific. But at the same time, if you look around in the world and you take a look at couples who are divorcing and then fighting against each other, and then actually doing horrible things to their children, not killing them, but killing their souls, just because they want to punish the other person, the other spouse. That's what's happening. On Vesta, you have Elatus, who is a centaur that is taking out the best of you if you write or you work. But if you are punished or not taken seriously, then it's a big blow to your conscience and to your self-respect. On the dark moon, you have more Somnus. Yes, they are again trying to promote another virus, again from China, and again a COVID type, which they're talking about razor throat. So I had a razor throat once. It was very, very painful. I was coming home from the United States, and I always catch something on the plane on the long haul, and that's why I no longer fly long haul if I can make it, if happen. And after that, I had to go somewhere, and we had a -5 degrees. It wasn't really brutally cold, but I was out there for at least an hour, and I could feel that my throat is destroyed. And after that, for 2-3 days, I had this razor throat. It was terrible. So that's a new thing. And on Pelion, which is the hill where the caves of the centaurs are, so it's the mountain of life that you need to conquer and you need to make it on your home. That's on the dark moon. And Mirfak, which is Alpha Pegasus, which we are going to take a look where it is. Here's constellation Pegasus. Argol is the head of the Medusa that is being cut. And there's Capulus, which is the hilt of the sword, where the hero wields its power. And Mirfak is the solar plexus of the hero, which simply is the seat of power for everyone who wants to act and wants to gather your wits. Let's put it this way: anything that you need, you actually start it with from the solar plexus. Okay, and in the London chart, the ascendant creates a quindacile arrow. Quindacile is 165 degree, denotes obsession or ambition. And as you can see, Saturn, Neptune makes a semi-sextile to Lilith, the asteroid Lilith, and both are making a quindacile. So that's a quindacile arrow. It simply means that please pay attention what exactly your dreams are, what you are taking down to the earth plane, what are you against, why are you revolting or why are you not revolting, if you see any injustice. And the Uranus-Saturn, Uranus-Sedna, square Lilith is actually creating another triangle, which is a little bit, the square is a little bit out of orb, although the square is there. And to the ascendant, the quindacile and the tridacile is creating this interesting, and of course, there's also a mini engine right here. Engines are made up by a square. One of the so-called karmic aspects, which is either the semi-sextile or the quincunx, and either a trine or a sextile. So that you have the karmic intent of the karmic aspects, semi-sextile or quincunx. You have the drive of the square, and you have some redeeming aspect, either the sextile, which provides potentials, or the trine, which provides blessings. And we don't have too many transcendental objects over here. We do have the ascendant has Orcus and Aphidas. Orcus is the Etruscan lord of the underworld, and he's responsible for two things. Number one, he's guarding treasures that have been dug, have been hidden, and also he's the punisher of broken oaths. Aphidas is a very ugly centaur. He is a rapist, and he's killed finally as a punishment. Alcormizar is in the Big Dipper, where the rod of the celestial chariot is broken, and it usually symbolizes big cataclysms. The healing word for cataclysms is Alcormizar. On Saturn, Neptune, you have Tristan, a knight in shining armor, Borastisi, the tyrant, and then I have Kaitos, which is the beta star of the celestial veil, symbolizing our subconscious emerging. And on Uranus Sedna, you have Gisha, the ancient feminine role, let's put it this way. Akhenaten, who was Amenhotep IV, and he was actually changing the, not just for long, only for 1.5 hour time. He was turning the multiple gods into one single god. For the Egyptians, it was the Aten, the sun disk. And then, of course, this couldn't remain because the priest of Amen just made this disappear completely. But actually, he was a creator. Quite interestingly, some of the people think, some of the researchers think that actually Akhenaten was Moses. And if you take a look at the Egyptian pharaoh names, you have Tutmosis, kind of hinting at this. But I'm not an expert, so I'm just telling you this. And of course, there's Harmonia, which makes us laugh because with Uranus and Sedna, quite hard to create harmony, but the potential is there. And the Pleiades, which is the home of the creator goddess, it's the tiniest of the constellations. And here is Alcor Mizar. Here's Ursa Major, so the big bear, out of which here's the Big Dipper, because there's also a little big dipper. And as you see, Alcor Mizar is at the breaking point, and it usually is it's the healing word for big cataclysms, which we are in the middle of, to say the least. This is what you see everywhere, unfortunately. So this is the new moon. It contains a ton of luck and potential, but also some warning and some difficulties as well. Nevertheless, happy new moon, and thank you for listening. Bye-bye.